Recording in progress.
All right, I'm going to call the Thursday, November 7th work session of Narberth Borough Council to order. Let's go ahead with the pledge. Mr. Guevara, lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we will call the roll.
Yep. President Bush,
Here.
Vice President Rickards,
Here.
Councilmember Winston,
Here.
Councilmember Burok,
Here.
Councilmember Spear,
Here.
Councilmember Galdini,
Here.
Councilmember Salmonson,
Here.
and Mayor Deutsch.
Here.
And I do have several comments today. So first, I'm going to acknowledge Election Day in the borough. So I think the result was not what I and most of the people here at this table were hoping for, but turnout was very high in Narberth. I think we want to thank our poll workers, constables, judges of elections, and all the Narberth residents. Right now, it looks like turnout is 84%, and they're still counting provisional ballots, so it's probably going to go a little higher than that. So that's an excellent number, and thank you to everyone for coming out on Election Day. I do have some borough news as well. So our assistant borough manager, Alan Gazzardo, will be departing the borough and the state of Pennsylvania by November 15th. It'll be his last day here at the borough. So this will be his last meeting with full borough council. Alan joined Narberth staff in March of last year from North Wales Borough, and almost immediately was called on to take the role of interim borough manager after the departure of Samantha Bryant. He kept the borough running with a very limited support team for several months, and we are particularly grateful for his work during that period. And since then, as borough manager, he's been a very reliable and cheerful contributor to the borough. So, thank you, Alan.
Yeah, I also want to thank all of you on council, as well as the staff. You know, John, Jeff, Matt, everybody here. I was kind of dealt an interesting hand last year when I took this position, but I think council and the staff here made it easier for me to kind of take that position, that leadership role, help the borough through those tough times. I think now we've really turned things around, everything's going in the right direction, and I'm very happy where we're at now, and I feel good that I can leave, and I know that the good work's going to continue, and that I feel happy about everything that we've accomplished in the short amount of time that I've been here. So, yeah.
Well, we want to give you a little reminder of the East Coast when you go to the West Coast from council and mayor.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
And we will be discussing this later during the executive session, but we are expecting Alan will stay on part-time virtual role, working on some of his assistant manager duties, even while he's in California. So, and in further borough news, I'm also sad to say that borough manager Matt West will be departing at the end of the year. He is going to be staying on through the end of December with us, but he's taking a new position, and council is interviewing candidates this time for the position of borough manager. We hope to have some more news on that soon, and we'll have more of a send-off at the end of the year. But we need to announce this now. So.
Unexpected, bittersweet. How much I appreciate all of you. I appreciate Narberth, so I'll stop there before I get too emotional about it. Thank you.
I don't want to put you on the spot, Matt.
But you will.
But I was just going to say, when this news hits the town, I will happily be able to say, and I think that the rest of us say, boy, will we miss you, but boy, we don't fault you for taking a professional opportunity, and boy, we're not shocked that you got nabbed.
Stolen.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. Yeah.
More later, though.
More later, yeah, so,
So we got a lot of work to do before.
right, so,
Next month and a half.
so that concludes my comments. Mayor Deutsch?
Yeah, I want to thank both of you for everything that you've done for the borough, and particularly for not only cleaning up, the situations we were in prior to you coming, but for creating systems that can be carried on by future managers and assistant managers to ensure continuity of care for the citizens of Narberth. And thank you for doing that. And we're hoping to have a fairly seamless transition. But thank you for everything. Next subject, as most of you may know, due to the extremely dry conditions in the area and the lack of rainfall and just the fact that we are just lacking moisture in the atmosphere, I issued a burn ban last week, which under an emergency declaration of the mayor's orders. And under Borough Code, that's good for 7 days unless ratified or extended by council. And the reasons for doing that is that should a leaf catch on fire or something catch on fire, with the wind and the dryness, we run a very strong risk of that fire catching further and becoming a real problem in the borough. So for that reason, I have issued a ban on non-cooking burning of open flames. So if you have a grill and you want to grill, you can still do that, or no matter if it's propane or charcoal, but no open fires. So no fire pits, no small open fires with propane, just because we really can't take a risk. It's not worth the risk of causing harm to property or more importantly people or lives due to the extreme situations we're in. So Borough Council is going to take this up later in the meeting to expand it, but it's my recommendation that we just play everything super cautious right now for the safety of all involved. Next item is my annual reminder to lock your doors and take your keys of your cars. There was a vehicle theft on the south side this week. Just please do not make ourselves a soft target. Take the keys to the car with you, lock your doors. Let's be smart about it and not make Narberth a place that people looking for trouble find it an easy path. So please just let's make good choices. And that is it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, that is our action item 7B will be extension of the fire ban.
Okay.
Okay, we have a presentation item today, the draft budget. Mr. West.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am really excited about presenting this budget. I know, nerd alert. I just really like this process, and we started it internally mid to late September. It really started with our department heads having one-on-one meetings with me just to discuss expectations and reviewing their budget needs for 2025. And that segued into a draft budget that we circulated to council, and if you recall, we then met in the past couple of weeks in small groups, and just to discuss, give you the opportunity to ask questions, detailed questions about the process, any line items and so forth, and I thought that process was really, really effective. I just wanted to thank everybody involved, staff, Chief String, Jeff Eldon, Alan, and all of council and mayor for your input throughout this process. I couldn't have done it without you. It is truly a collaborative process. So tonight, I'm gonna go through every single one of our funds. We have 6 of them across the borough. 3 of them are operating funds, 3 of them are, I'm calling them other funds. If you recall, one of my favorite sayings is most of our funds are children of the general fund. Sewer and solid waste are the exceptions. Those are generated by standalone fees. So if you follow along at home, those color codes, the general, sewer, and solid, you'll see per slide. And then kind of a grayish color are going to be these other funds. We'll talk about those at the end. So anytime that a municipality passes a budget by state law, it has to be balanced, of course. And you only have to really focus on the operating budgets. So I really like, this presentation is going to focus mostly on the general fund, sewer fund, and your solid waste funds. This is my favorite slide, arguably, aside from the cut up dollar bill that we're going to see later in the presentation.
It's a classic.
I'm really proud of this budget. It was, as I said earlier, it was collaborative, but you all have made it easy on me because this council, previous councils, have made some really difficult decisions to set the table. And you are in a really good position. You are in a really good financial position. And just kudos to you all for making those decisions and continuing to make really good evidence-based decisions for this year and the next years. So continue down that path, which is how we were able to quickly pull together a balanced budget down to the penny with no increase in property taxes or earned income taxes. That is a huge step. So well done. So let's get right to it. Check it out. It's identical to 2024. Our real estate millage rate, our earned income tax, our homestead exemption, and our business privilege tax rates will stay identical to 2024. The difference, if you'll see on an upcoming slide, the homestead exemption, while we are still maintaining that $202.23 per eligible parcel, that number will fluctuate because we will get more or some properties back out of the homestead exemption. So that number, I should have a better number by late December about what that total number would be. This current budget has, I added 950 eligible parcels, which was up from about 912. And I believe I got an unofficial update from the county yesterday that we are at 131. So that's where we're at now. I expect that number could inch up a little bit before the end of the year, which is why I'm budgeting for 950 parcels. So if you say, well, what if it ends up being 930 or 935? Good news, that will generate more revenue for you all because you're going to be paying less. So I'd much rather budget higher and be pleasantly surprised with that number. I don't expect it to go above 950 parcels for 2025. So let's start with the major revenue sources. This borough still relies heavily on real estate taxes. We are fortunate that we have pretty good assessed values, and what this also does not include are 3 major properties that are set to come online pretty soon, one of which the final CO was issued for 100 Forest, 650 Montgomery should be by the end of the year, and 203 Haverford should be following soon thereafter. So our total revenue could actually be bumping up for 2025, but as of right now, you need to use the data that I have from the county that states what our total assessed value is. What's really helping this budget would really help the 2024 budget and will help budgets in the future, is the earned income tax. That is really helping. And you are fortunate that in the borough's instance that the school district doesn't take any of it. Most every other municipality, the school district can take half of it. So you take that 0.75 to the bank. That's really great. You can build on that for the upcoming years as well. The number that I'm using for the EIT is, if you're going to see it in a minute, compare it to the 2024 budget. It's a little less than 2024 because if you remember, we upped the EIT to 0.75 from 0.5 in 2024. There were some back payments that were processed in the early portions of 2024 that kind of is inflating the EIT for 2024. So Berkheimer, our tax collector for EIT, we don't have really good long-term data for EIT yet either, and so they tend to be really conservative with their estimates for the upcoming year. And so I'm using their highest estimate, which is $1,280,000. EIT represents 22% of the total revenue source for the borough. Coming in a distant third would be our rental revenue for 201 Sabine. That value will continue to trend downward, and this is lighter than the 2024 budget as well. If you remember, council has approved lease reductions for several of the properties. We also have a lot of unknowns in 2025. 2025 will be a big year. Many of the leases in 201 Sabine expire in 2025. And so 201 Sabine's property manager, Andy Rubin, he and I have been working in close coordination with coming up with a pretty good estimate of what we can expect for 2025. So this council will need to be making some other more difficult decisions regarding leases that are expiring in 2025. I believe the first ones are set to expire around June of 2025 with another group in September 2025. So keep your eye on that.
And that's a gross number, that's not the net, right?
Correct, that's gross, right. You'll see that in the budget that we book the gross, that's total, everything that comes in, but then you have to subtract it from all of the 201 Sabine expenses that are also included in the general fund budget to get that net. Our business privilege tax, it's been trending a little downward. So I bumped it down from $170,000 from 2024 down to $167,000 for 2025. And then real estate transfer tax, that really depends on the volume of houses that are sold. So that one is that one really is a best guess. And then everything else, these are all of the grants, all of the pass-through money, all of the rental for the 100 Conway. Those are all added up, and that equals 11% of your total budget revenue. So our total budgeted revenue for 2025 is $5,792,735. Here's where we're seeing some changes. Real estate taxes are a little lower than 2024. That's due to those additional homestead exemption properties. I expect that the actual number, as I said earlier, for 2025 to increase once the housing units start coming online. As I already explained, EIT, back payments, there's nothing else here to talk about. Bottom line, total budgeted revenue were $63,549 lighter than 2024. But it's okay. Don't wring your hands, because I'll show you in a minute, it'll all come out. Just for those playing along at home who are interested in looking at long-term trends, this shows our total assessed value over quite a long time. You can see that Homestead was passed in 2023, so we don't have any good long-term data there. That total expected revenue is having all of that backed out. It's the 98% collection rate, and there's a 2% discount period. Most of the tax collection is completed in that 2% discount period, so that needs to be backed out as well. Okay, so let's take a look at expenses as a summary. Overall, compared to 2024 and 2025, our expenses are down negative 1%. 63,549. That sound familiar? That was the reduction in revenue. So it's that same number. That means we have a balanced budget. This graphic is a little misleading, which is why I highlighted that interfund transfer. So if you remember, the 2024 budget did not include that transfer to the capital fund. Council considered and passed the budget amendment number 3 at the last meeting, where we're expecting a healthy surplus 2024. We added that $300,000 in. So if you actually add that $300,000 in to the 2025 budget, which I expect that you should be doing this time next year, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I'm thinking you're gonna have close to $300,000 left by next year to do this same thing. If you add that back in, 2024 to 2025, it's actually a 4% increase. All right, the 2025 budget, there's a 4% increase overall of expenses if you account for that expected $300,000 transfer. Just wanted to put that in there as well, that it's a little misleading because it has that goose egg for the interfund transfers. I just wanted to quickly move through a couple of highlights through each department. Most of the budget line items are pretty close to the 2024 budget, with a couple of exceptions. Administration, it maintains our current staffing levels, where it's a manager, assistant manager, bookkeeper, and a records clerk. The 2025 budget had a pretty significant increase, talking 4,000 to 10,000 for additional staff training. It's really important for us to continue to professionalize and offer as much, encourage staff to seek out as much training as they can to be more effective and efficient with their time. It also includes funding for professional services for your CPA, grants manager, and management consultant. It also includes funding for a new website. We are working with the Finance and Administration Committee to discuss that process. That should be forthcoming. Our records clerk, Kelsey, has been working on a recommendation for a new website, and we are really excited about that proposal. That is included in the 2025 budget. No decisions have been made about making that decision yet. Council will be involved in that before we move forward with it. It also includes Planning Commission, Narberth Planning Commission charrette, and the $7,500 grant match for the Safe Streets grant that we had got awarded with Lower Merion Township for Montgomery Avenue. All of those things are included in the administrative budget. Police, it maintains our current staffing, which is a chief, a sergeant, 4 patrol officers, 1 full-time and 1 part-time parking officer, and 2 crossing guards. I am excited to announce that our police negotiations have been progressing quite well, and we are expecting a signed agreement before the end of this year. Most of those non-labor expenses mirror the 2024 budget line items. Similarly, for our fire department, it maintains the current staffing level of 2 full-time housemen. That's Ken and John, who are also our de facto facilities managers. Public Works also maintains current staffing levels. Manager, foreman, 3 crew members. Most of the increase is due to reallocation of insurance costs across departments. The 2024 insurance costs were not as accurate as I thought they were. And so the 2025 budget actually reallocates things across departments and are much more, are 100% accurate versus the 2024 numbers. So if you compare the insurance numbers compared to 2024, there was a pretty significant change, especially between admin and public works. One of the major increases in Public Works budget is this increase in the recreation and special events line item. This is the expense line item that we use to support all of our great special events that are mostly run by the Narberth Business Association. And this year we included $20,000 more to support the efforts for NARBART. I just wanted to give a shout out to NARBART and showing how you just appreciate everything that they've been doing to really make our downtown that much more interesting instead of vacant storefronts. So thank you. Our partner organizations, this budget includes putting in the full budget requests from the Narberth Library, Narberth Fire Company, Narberth Ambulance, I forgot the EAC also. All 4 of those organizations submitted formal budget requests. 100% of their budget requests are included in this proposed budget, which is also, I'll say again, a balanced budget. Narberth Library provided a request for $285,595 for operating expenses for the year. And then the borough is also putting in $35,000 for utilities and maintenance. That's ongoing. That's been included in every one of our general fund budgets since the beginning of time. And that number continues to creep up because it is an old building, and every year we're finding that we are going through much of those funds, but I think that's a really good number for 2025. Narberth Fire Company, they submitted a request for $117,750. $77,500 of that goes to operations, and then the $40,000 goes to the capital equipment fund. The capital equipment fund, if you remember, typically is matched by the fire company on an annual basis. We take $40,000 from our general fund and transfer that into the fire equipment fund, which sits inside of our capital fund. The $77,500 for operations is an increase from the 2024 numbers, which was $60,000. Narberth Ambulance, they maintain their 2024 contribution. The borough has been contributing $5,000 to the Narberth Ambulance for quite a while, and they still believe that that is a good number. Unfortunately, they could not be here this evening, and Al sends his regards and thanks for this consideration. Anticipated debt service. If you recall from conversations that we had with the budget amendment number 3, since we didn't take down the debt on that 4th general obligation note, it really is helping our long-term debt obligations. And so I updated this anticipated annual debt service slide to back that note out, just to show where you're going to trend over the next 10 years. So if you look at between the 2024 and 2025, we're actually paying almost $31,000 less in debt service in 2025. And those, the 3 current debt is for building improvements, the bridge, and open space purchase, the Elm Grove Park. Here's my other favorite slide, showing where your tax dollars go. Unfortunately, most people who interact with Regina, the borough's amazing tax collector, they think that the borough gets all that money that they pay to Regina. We don't. The borough only gets 20% of your entire tax bill. The borough only gets 20% of that. Think about all we do for 20% of your tax bill. Right? We are a people-based service. I think it's remarkable that we can provide the services that we provide, support the staff that we support, the professionalization of all of our departments for 20% of your tax bill. It's remarkable. Quite a deal. So here's the summary. I like those numbers. Goose eggs. Revenues proposed, expenses proposed. They cancel each other out. We have a balanced budget. I'm going to say it again, no proposed tax rate increases for 2025. You can put an exclamation mark on that one and put it in green. Any questions about the general fund? That's the big fund. That is the mother fund of all of our budgets.
I know that we have a lot of representatives from the...
And I've asked them to come in if if council has any questions. Don't feel as though you're pressured to make a speech or anything. If I asked them to be here if y'all had specific questions. I think it's pretty easy. Okay, seeing none. Poor Bill. Let's talk about the 2 other operating funds, and this is where it becomes not as rosy. Our sewer fund, no, it's 1 minute here. The sewer fund, we are proposing a rate increase again. And the reason why we're doing a rate increase again, I want to draw your attention to the 2024 budget. So we included a rate increase, a significant rate increase between 2024 and 2023. But look at the line item for sewer maintenance and planning. We have been under-investing in our infrastructure for a very long time. And arguably, our sewer infrastructure is the most expensive infrastructure that we are responsible for, that we own. Most of it is still original terracotta pipes. And so we need to be a lot more proactive. We self-insure for all of our sewer lines. if we have an oh crap moment, yes, pun intended, we are on the hook to, I know, it never gets old. We are on the hook to pay for that. We have not been squirreling away enough money for the borough to be proactive and respond and rebuild any critical failures. So that is a significant jump. And again, thank you to this council, former council, and this council for considering that big jump, $130,000 jump from 2023 to 2024. Our recommendation for 2025 is to continue to maintain that $160,000 level, because what that does is it allows Jeff and his crew to contract with a professional to camera our entire system, identify any leaks, any misaligned pipes, and make those repairs before they become catastrophic.
If you could just remind everyone how old those terracotta pipes are.
How old is the borough? 1895?
Yeah.
130.
Original. They are original to our neighborhoods,
That's right.
right? So just hats off to Jeff and his crew for managing this. I keep saying, Jeff likes to go and look at the beautiful bean footage, because yes, he likes to go and look at all of the cameraed lines. Wow, what they can pick out, and the cost savings alone, to be proactive, to hire a contractor to make those repairs outside of an emergency window is a huge cost savings. So thank you. Thank you for continuing to invest in the future. This is arguably the thing that mostly keeps me up at night, because it is a huge critical piece of critical infrastructure.
And what do the pipes get replaced with?
So when we find a failed section, it either gets replaced with a PVC pipe for it. But, our plan, once we run through it all, there's actually a cured in place pipe that you can shoot in there.
Oh, like within the terracotta
Yes,
pipe?
so right now we're chasing, cracks, holes. Once they're all done, then we can start to come back through.
I guess
We've
it
been putting
depends.
this on our radar for years, and I gotta tell you, the poo pipes are the least fun thing at council,
Yep.
and so expensive, and the most upsetting infrastructure failure. And, I appreciate you constantly showing us, folks, this is what we're dealing with, to put it on our radar like this.
And I think the way we structured the increase last year was to draw down a bit of the balance that was in the sewer account. So we kind of knew that we would be increasing it this year, right? I mean, sort of a gradual increase.
That's a great segue.
Yeah.
I was going to draw your attention to 2024 budget, and if you look at that net income, so the 2024 budget, while council did increase rates significantly in 2024, we still ended with more expenses than revenue. So remember, we do need to self-insure. This is a fund where we need to continue to grow that cash fund balance more significantly than what we have right now. So the 2025 budget has a proposed rate increase to help us start. While it's only $1,900, it changes that trajectory instead of being on a downward slope to start edging upward. So I encourage future councils and future budgets to continue to fund this fully, and I'm hoping that a challenge for us is decreased water usage, since sewer rates are generated based upon the previous 4 quarters worth of water usage. So as Narberth residents use less, we will generate less in sewer rates, right? So you might have to also consider increasing those to keep this current. Any other questions on the sewer fund?
So it's not like as a percentage of the overall water usage rate, it's like an absolute?
Good question. So it's an absolute, so everybody's tax bills will be different. And so we get a data download from Aqua. It's a process. Regina and I work on it for a couple of days. We get this data download from Aqua that has every single parcel's water usage for the previous 4 quarters. We then convert that into 1,000 gallons used, and then we multiply that rate based upon your usage. So every single one of you, your sewer bill will be different because it's based upon your water usage.
But we couldn't do it like as a percentage of the overall, because we don't know the overall.
Overall, what?
You're
Water
saying
usage.
everybody pays the same amount regardless of how much?
No, I didn't say that.
Percentage of water.
That's
saying-
what we're doing.
No, it's not. He said our volume is going down, we have a fixed rate per gallon,
Yeah.
right?
Individuals are
It's
using
per
less water.
individual usage.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but the problem is that like, I mean, I guess it's a good thing that the water usage is going down, but also our income is going down. So another way to do it would be to like, you know, like base it on like last year's total usage and what your percentage of that usage was. And that way you could sort of collect, you know, like a known amount of money. But it's not that, I don't know that it's that, I don't know that the usage is going down that much of water.
No, that's not, I'm just saying in future years. And
You
so
could
this-
raise the rate.
This budget
Yeah.
takes, it's a known number. I have that known number. That known number is not gonna change. I'm saying in future budgets, yeah, when people start using less water, that total amount is gonna continue to track downward. So it's the simple math. Total amount used times your rate, is it gonna cover your budget?
Well, has it been going down or the total usage or not?
I haven't been tracking it
It's
specifically.
something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
I don't know that it will go down, but.
I know I asked this in our small group meetings, but in practical terms, you know, it looks like it's a big increase, but in practical terms, I think you said it's on average per household, it's like $40, $50 something you thought estimated?
It'll be $120 a house per year.
Per year.
The increase?
Yes. Per year. I have a slide here coming up. that
Ah,
shows-
sorry.
No, it's all good, it's all good, it's all right.
Yeah, so it's like 10 months now.
Yes.
I was remembering.
Yep. Any other questions on the sewer fund? All right, I'm gonna go on to the last operating fund, which is our solid waste fund. This is one of the easier ones because that is contractual. So the 2025 budgeted amount for collection and transportation of solid waste is $1,270,000, $355,000. $1,270,355. There it is. And it also includes the downtown additional collections, which are those 3 dumpsters on Commerce Lane. Again, we have a master list of all of our properties, and we have them classified as apartment, commercial, or residential. And the rates that we are proposing is an increase highlighted on the right-hand side. $204 per living unit for apartments, which is an increase of $4, and this is per year. Going up from $580 to $593 for the first parcel, and that $204 for each living unit thereafter. That's an increase of $13 per year. For commercial, for residential, $818 for the first living unit and $204 for each thereafter. That is an $18 a year increase from 2024. All said and done, there it is. This includes everything. No changes in your real estate tax millage, no changes in your homestead exemption, aside from the total number of homestead exemption properties. No changes in our EIT rates. It includes about a $20 a year increase in solid waste and $124 per year increase in sewer fees. Any questions? And it's difficult for us to track EIT because we don't have access to income data, just to be insulated from it. Our tax collector, they are the ones that provide those details to us.
But there's no percentage change.
No percentage. All right. Here's the proposed budget timeline. Since we are in such a really good position, my recommendation to you all, and perhaps my last gift to you all, is for council to consider making this action to advertise tonight. And by state law, we are required to advertise it for 10 days. That puts us on track to actually have council consider adopting this budget at our business meeting on November 21st. And that's what I would recommend. Get it off your plates. Celebrate a victory. It is a really good budget. You are in really good shape for 2025. and there's no reason to wait. Those are our operating budgets. Really quickly, I'd like to zip through our other funds. These are the ones that we don't have to pass a budget, but I'm going to include them in the budget anyway. Our highway aid, that is what we are using to repave all of our roads. Everybody was excited to see us starting to repave Haverford Ave this year. You're going to see a significant bump from 2024 to 2025. The idea is that we want to do more every other year or so. We want to use this fund. This is funds that are generated, that we get from the state, pass through liquid fuels based upon population, vehicle miles, and roadways, miles of roads, that we get money from the state that have to be used for very specific things. Given that we go through an audit every other year, my professional recommendation to you all is to keep it simple. Only use this fund for highway repaving. You can use it for other things so long as it touches a road or supports a road, but from an auditing standpoint, it really makes it much more challenging, especially with a limited staff, to do more than one thing. So the idea is to live within our means, and you can use these funds, you can carry these funds year over year, to do more paving every other year, every 3 years, to then not have to supplement it with general fund dollars. That's something that future councils can consider, to supplement road paving, to do more every year, to supplement highway aid fund. The green fund, this is a fund that council had created previously and had never been set up in the accounting software. We have worked this year to set that up. This is a pretty light fund right now because it doesn't have any dedicated revenue streams. Right now it's still a child of the general fund. The green fund shows all of the budget requests from the EAC. And so the 2024, it was funded through general fund transfer of $17,408, and then about $4,500 worth of EV grants that we got from PECO. We had minimal expenses this year. In 2025, even with all of those expenses, we will still be left with a balance of about $9,000 in the green fund. Future administrations should be looking at paying for the EV chargers, and the revenue should be going through this fund as well. Speaking of the EV chargers, I did some poking around and looking at our current rates, and we have been operating at a significant loss. Right now, our rates for our EV chargers are 15 cents per kilowatt hour, which is rock bottom. I think the lowest competitor that I saw in the area was 36 cents per kilowatt hour. My back of the notebook math, I haven't been able to get really good feedback from Flow, the EV provider, yet. My back of the notebook math says you all should consider changing the rate to 30 cents per kilowatt hour. If you do that, the revenue should match your expenses. That's my best guess. It'll get you much closer than where we are. So you all should consider making a change to those rates sooner rather than later. Then we have our capital fund. Our capital fund, I've separated into 3 smaller funds because it's you've got these 3 different micro funds that all are in the same bucket of the capital fund. The biggest one is the capital operating fund. That's where most of the money sits. That's where most of the activity happens. The capital improvement plan that council considered earlier this year, that's what will be funded from the operating fund. I wanted to highlight the Pliget Capital Reserve Fund that we were successful in opening last week and transferring $700,000 worth of the proceeds of the parking lot sale, sitting in a high interest yield savings account. And I believe, if you remember, Amtrak, we owe them $735,000 down payment when the project starts. We will be able to generate in excess of $35,000 in interest revenue before that project starts to pay for it. So that one is there. While it is still in the operating, that one really is earmarked for the bridge down payment. And notice this is why These ones are difficult because they really rely on grant funding, like your capital fund, grant funds, and you don't know what those grant funds, those opportunities are going to be in 2025. And so on the revenue side, it's pretty light. So this could actually change over 2025 if we're successful in obtaining more grants. That could offset the bottom line for the budget. The expenses in the operating include all of the allocated 2025 expenses in the 2025 in the capital improvement plan. Rest assured, anything that comes in and out of any of these other funds, council will always see those activities and will be in a position to make decisions of whether or not to do that. That's why it's different than an operating fund. When you pass that operating fund, you are giving a green light to staff to go in and do those things. These other funds, yeah, we're going to talk about it, we're going to budget it, but you'll still see a capital expense come before council for consideration prior to them being approved and acted upon. Almost done. Fire equipment fund. This is that set-aside dedicated fund that we contribute, that the borough contributes $40,000 to annually, and that the fire company matches us $40,000, specifically for fire apparatus. And thankfully, there are no budgeted fire apparatus scheduled for 2025, not that I was told.
aware of.
Right?
Is this also in a high interest savings?
It is,
Okay.
yep. And then lastly, we have a small capital fund for the North Narberth Avenue Bridge. One of our debt proceeds specifically was taken out for those costs associated with the bridge, so we need to segregate those. We can't use them as part of the general capital operating fund. Design, I'm projecting $240,000 or $50,000 for 2025. We're really close to closing out the design phase. You will see in 2 weeks that Pannoni has requested a time extension since Amtrak has been taking so long for us to get that final design, a no-cost time extension to the end of the year 2025. Remember, that is all reimbursed. The borough is on the hook for 5% of it. Once it switches over to construction, it's 100% federal pay. That's it. That's it. This is a good budget. This was fun to create. I'm really pleased with it. 2020, I know.
You are geeking out.
I'm just excited for 2025. We have a really good opportunity to do some really good things. And I think it's a great opportunity to fully fund our partner organizations. And it's just, this is the year to do it. Thank you. I know, that was, come on, I can hear it. I can get better. Better response. High fives. Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Matt?
Collective sigh of relief. I don't know.
That's good.
I want to.
All right, so I'll point out that on our agenda, our next action is the action items. However, I believe before we take action items, we should take public comment. So I'm going to propose that we shift public comment. So we take a motion for that, or?
Or you could take public comment for each action item. Whatever you'd like.
I'm just gonna open up public comment.
Okay.
So,
Fine.
Anybody in the room wish to make a public comment? All right. Is there anybody online who wishes to make a public comment? Please make yourself. Is there anybody online?
There's somebody there.
Okay. Please raise your hand. And okay, I see somebody. So.
iPhone.
iPhone.
Oh, we have someone in the room.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Before we do that, we have somebody in the room who wishes to make a public comment. So, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Nancy Lotz. I live at 21 Windsor Avenue. I came to listen. I'm a member of the library board. I came to listen to the budget. It's terrific, Matt. I would give you a little shout out from over here. So thank you. And the library is appreciative of the monies that you give us. My other question is, this goes back years ago, but Comcast or Verizon used to, for the wiring and stuff, used to give some monies to the borough. I don't know if that still happens, I mean, it's not identified as a specific.
It was in that other revenue
Right,
source.
right,
Yeah.
and it's probably a small amount. But the other thing that I wanted to say about that is, through Verizon, I have terrible cell phone coverage in this borough. And I know I am not the only one, and I
We're
don't
not.
understand why. I mean, I was on council when they put the fiber optics in and all this other stuff, and many things went on. But I'm here, I don't know what kind of interaction you have with Verizon,
What?
but I can't believe I'm the only one that loses calls. People tell me they can't hear me. I mean, there's just lots of problems,
We have
and I
good
don't
news.
get it.
We have good news for you.
some news.
All right, so,
Matt,
Matt,
go for it.
So-
This is your win.
Yeah.
Thank you about the budget. Really quickly, without talking for Verizon, I've been coordinating with Verizon for the past 3 months to address this issue.
So
And
I'm not the only one.
you're not the only one. As a longtime Verizon customer myself, I have to be on Wi-Fi here for it to work, right? I know if I'm on a call with my mom coming into the borough, I'm like, all right, Mom, I'm in Narberth, it's gonna drop here any minute now, and it does. Couple of things. I actually got the engineer who's in charge of looking at Verizon Wireless. So 2 things, Verizon Wireless, 2 separate companies. They don't even really know each other. It's the wireless thing. And so fiber, that's Verizon. Verizon Wireless, they're their own company. Had the engineer for Verizon Wireless here, he validated, he's just like, oh my goodness, yeah, you have all this service here, this is really bad. It's bad for customer service, because if we have mobile app ready parking uptown, people can't use it, that's not good for us, that's not a good look for us. So I've been working with them to identify a location for a new cell tower. And I'm hoping that we can put one on this building. That's what I'm working on. I'm hoping that we move towards that quicker than not. The other update is that they did make, 2 weeks ago, made a tweak to the closest cell tower. It's over in Wynwood. They made a couple of adjustments to it, and Narberth has better coverage. I know that for myself. I can now make calls in our back parking lot.
Oh, since that.
Since then, the past 2 weeks. It's recent. So I encourage you all to give me that feedback if you do experience better coverage. Just how it was explained to me, it's over on a building over in Wynwood. If you look at the geography of Narberth, we're kind of down a little bit. And so most of the frequencies go right over Narberth. And so we just can't get it. And so they tried to adjust it downward, but then you've got this big building in the way as well. I now don't drop calls. And like when I drive into the borough, it's not 4 bars, but I now at least have 2. So it is getting better.
Yeah, I will confirm that it's, as the guy said, it's not 4 bars, but it's definitely improved to some
And if you're in
extent.
a building,
No, it's not gonna, no, I
it's
didn't
not
say
gonna
that, I
happen.
meant
But
on
if
the
you're
street.
outside, I can get consistently 2 bars now. So it is on their radar, unintended, and they are still actively working to identify a location for a micro tower. And I'm hoping the top of this building.
Is it gonna look like an elementary?
No comment.
all right. And I'll add that the fees that they pay are listed as franchise fees in our full budget. So if you know, once we get to the fuller budget, or if you look online, that's where all the cable company
Yeah, full
fees are.
budget, if council moves forward with advertising, will be available via our website soon tomorrow morning.
Yeah, but I mean, I learned a little detail about that isn't so promising for the future. That franchise fee is only on their cable TV, like their television bills, not on their internet bills. So as people cord cut, like,
That's
you
gonna
don't
go
get
down.
that
Yeah.
money.
And that number has continued to go down.
Right.
All right, thank you. Anybody else in the room? One more chance? All right, let's go back to the person online who's had their hand up for a while. Just a reminder, give us your name and your address, and then go to your comment.
Carol Marie Scanlon, Sabine Avenue. My question is, what is the progress on the appraisal for 201 Sabine?
Why don't you make your entire comment, Carol Marie, and then we can respond if we have anything
Okay,
else to say.
and what is the progress on the RFP, RFQ, any development plans for 201 Sabine?
We have no news on the appraisal, and that's our next step. So we have no news there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Any other online folks wish to make a comment? Okay, I will close public comment at this time, and we'll move on to our action items. First action item is to advertise the budget. So I'd like to make a motion.
So moved.
Then they're on.
Yeah, I move to advertise the 2025 draft budget.
Second.
All right. I mean, we all heard the presentation. We've all been in the workshops. So I think it's great that we have it in a finished state at this time. Yep. It's a little, it's earlier than we usually advertise, but I don't see any downside really to advertising it.
Somewhat earlier than last year.
Right. Usually, beyond last year.
But there wasn't anything that we needed to discuss. This was a really easy budget this year. And so if it's done,
Yeah.
they're done.
All right. Well, I'm seeing.
I just want to again thank Matt for his hard work and getting it together so cleanly and easy to understand for everybody to see what's going on, and for putting us in a position where it's easy to follow a format for next year.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we should recognize that, I think last year we didn't give everybody, our partners, all the money that they asked for last year. And so, when people come to us, we should recognize that, we're able to do more this year with a balanced budget than we were in the past. So kudos to people getting grants last year to cover other things, and the bridge.
Yeah,
Matt's being a little modest here. He saved us a potential big hole in the budget with the negotiations with Amtrak.
Even the trains are happy.
Even the train is tooting your horn, or tooting your own horn.
Yeah, we were able not to take out a loan that we had
Yeah.
lined up that we had thought we may have to for the bridge. So we were able to
And that's
not do that and save money.
Yeah, and that's directly through Matt's hard work and efforts, and we should make sure that the citizenry understands that we would have otherwise probably had to potentially either cut to our partners or come up with money.
We'll probably
Do a tax
cut our
increase.
own and cut.
Yeah.
Also, looking at other municipalities, I know they have either like a big budget gap or they have had to increase taxes. So
Yes.
I do think it's a big accomplishment for you and Northborough.
Right back at you all. And this is years in the making. So you made my life easier. So it's all. Thank you.
All right, ready to vote? All right, we're voting to advertise the 2025 draft budget. All those in favor? Okay, it is unanimous.
Great.
Now, if we did want to change those rates on the EV chargers, so that's going to be an action of council.
Yeah, that could be a separate item that's not related to the budget.
Okay,
If you would like me to propose that, I can have that ready for the business meeting in November.
that sounds good, and that'll let anybody who wants to, comment on it before we make the action. I'm looking at the EAC chair over here. They can feel free to do so.
Okay. And I think, again, I'm still awaiting feedback from Flo. Our representative is out until November 11th. So
I suspect what happened is we set this based on the cost of electricity and not necessarily the cost of supply, or not necessarily all of the costs that were coming to the borough for this. So looking at the, some of the Pico charges.
And cost of electric does go up,
Yeah.
and our rates have not gone up.
Council's goal was always to make those kind of self-sustaining, not to install them and then charge a rate that would cover the electricity and maintenance of the.
I also did see some EV chargers providers also have a penalty for vehicles that are connected that are not actively charging. Would that be something that council would be interested in entertaining as well?
Is it a problem?
It's a way to, it's a way to get vehicles turned over more quickly.
Yeah.
And so more people can get connected. I'm not sure if it's a problem, but it popped up in my.
I've seen some that have what you're talking about, but they have a grace period,
Yeah, right.
half an hour after you're done charging, there's nothing happens, but then it starts charging you for being in the spot.
Yeah.
I thought that was in our code, that was the policy.
Well, you're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to be parked there. That's a traffic enforcement issue.
Yeah, but they're saying it's an automatic thing.
Which we do.
Yeah.
This is actually, if you are connected and you're still parked and you aren't fully charged, you
Yeah.
gotta get out.
That is in our code.
No, not that you're actively
Right,
charging.
but so we can enforce it as a traffic thing, but we can't, the meter doesn't automatically
Yeah.
enforce it.
You don't know if they're plugged in, if they're
Well, you
charging.
couldn't really, they're gonna go look and see if that's charging.
It's hard to tell.
They're looking for the cord.
So you're saying you could charge the penalty
Oh,
through
they
the
know.
software?
If you're
Yeah, the
connected,
software, yeah.
it's all automatic.
They know,
traffic.
but the
Paul doesn't know.
parking officer.
Yeah, of course.
This would not be a parking.
But that's what I'm
officer.
saying.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
This would be
would be
automatically enforced through the
PCs
meter.
attached.
No,
If you're
we're
connected,
going
you're
to
paying for that charge, it's gonna show up on your account as a $10 charge. Oh, whoops. It's not a parking enforcement issue. Is that something council is interested in? I don't mean to have the discussion right now.
Let's get a proposal.
Okay.
Let's get a,
Okay.
and then we can consider it at the meeting.
That's something that can always be added
Yeah.
later.
Okay.
So the only caveat being, I can see people parking overnight there, and if it stops at 4 AM, do you expect me to move it by 4:30 AM?
Why would someone park there all night?
There are people that park there all
And
night
charge all
to
night?
charge.
Right now,
Just,
so
you're
yeah.
on the edge of your seat, I can see it. Can
Like me to-
we refer, or?
Can we,
Yeah, we'll postpone
Talk to
this,
Joe.
we'll discuss it, yeah, we'll
John,
Okay.
will talk about
we'll
it.
talk to him offline and
I
we'll.
didn't mean to derail conversation.
Can I ask a budget-related question, which is, so, is there an amount that we're currently budgeting to make up that gap? Like, what is that called?
We've not been doing a really good job to budget for this. It's all been absorbed in the general fund. So it really should, in an ideal world, it should all come in and out of the green fund, since that's what the green fund was set up to do, and it should be revenue neutral. It's not revenue neutral right now. So I don't even want to go and put it up in the green fund because the green fund would be bankrupt in 6 months. Right, so we gotta get it up so it's revenue neutral, then we can get those transactions transferred over to the green fund.
Can I ask just one logistical question? Once we do make a decision, how long does it take to implement that? Is it a phone call to Flow?
I think so.
Change the rate?
That's what I haven't been able to
Okay.
get yet. And so our rep hasn't been
Yeah,
available
okay,
until
okay.
Monday. So I'm hoping to get all of those
Okay.
questions answered.
And Joe, when you two do talk proposal, I'm just curious, how long does it take a charge? I mean, does it take 9 hours to charge some cars? And how does it compare to the home rate, our 15 cents? Or
Depends what your rate is.
is that, okay, that's too hard to, okay,
No, it's knowable,
it's
what
knowable?
your home rate is.
Yeah, okay.
It's considerably lower than most people's home rate, I think, especially for wind power.
I
Okay.
mean, if you're getting standard Pico, your home rate is probably 17, 18, so this is 15, it's a little bit cheaper. It was not our intention,
Okay,
so,
thank you.
okay. We do have 2 more action items, let's move on to the fire ban.
I move to approve resolution 2024-21 to extend the mayor's fire ban emergency declaration.
Seconded, okay. Anything to add, Mayor?
Just as an FYI, an hour after I issued the emergency burn ban, Laura Marion did the same.
What a trendsetter.
It is nice to be on top
They
of
do
that,
like following
okay.
us.
Good,
Yes.
good work.
Yes.
I also want to note that I think a few hours ago, the U.S. National Weather Service also issued an alert for dry conditions and high winds. So
They've been doing it every couple of days depending on the wind conditions, so.
Municipalities all over the area have been issuing these bans.
All right.
Yeah.
We do have our representative from the fire department. Anything you want to add about the fire ban?
Everyone's kind of have been issuing since the weekend before, the 25th of October. I was actually on a Teams meeting with Montgomery County Public Safety on Friday. They have to jump through some hoops to actually issue a countywide burn ban. This is through the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. We got them some of the information that they needed Friday afternoon, so that was put in front of the commissioners this week, and I believe they're gonna take it under advisement at their regularly scheduled meeting on the 14th of November. So the county's looking to do it too, but there's a few more hurdles they have to jump through to make it happen.
They have to get the approval of either 10 fire chiefs or 50%.
We gave them more than 10 fire
I'm
chiefs.
sure you did. I'm sure you
Not
did.
surprised.
Yeah.
All right. And then this lasts until December 19th or can be rescinded by council or extended by council. So this is just over a month extension here.
Bill, can I ask you a question? Is it, it's supposed to rain Sunday. That's not gonna lift the ban. Is there a certain, how do we know when this gets lifted? When do you assess that it's safe after?
The amount of rain that we're supposed to get, I don't think is gonna make a difference. The problem is everything is so dry. I mean, it's an assessment. There are provisions in the fire code that we adopted to do this too. I mean, it's one of those things I keep my eye on it all the time. If somebody is concerned and think they want to lift it, I mean, I'd be happy to have a discussion. I just think right now it's been so dry.
Oh, I agree.
And the issue is just a little bit of wind.
Yeah.
I mean, we had an incident a couple years ago up in North Narberth where we lost 3 sheds, 70 feet of fence, and the siding on a house. It was a dynamic couple of minutes that fortunately a neighbor saw it and made a 911 call. Don't because of the density of a lot of the areas here, we don't want to let that happen. So again, it's I don't want to say it's a day by day, but if we got a consistent medium rain, not a heavy rain, so it's all for a couple of days, I think. I mean, then it would warrant a discussion.
Is there a reason we're not just doing it to the end of the year?
I think the time was suggested by the solicitor. I don't remember, he's not here, so.
How would we extend it?
I think December 19th
Our next meeting,
final,
maybe.
that's probably our December.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably our December business meeting. That's probably why it's there.
Is there a potential of that meeting?
There is a potential for that meeting being canceled, but we haven't done that yet, so. Do we want to amend it to the end of the year?
We just extended it
We
in
always
January.
Yeah, the January 2nd mandatory.
Well, there'll
We know we have to
be a
meet on
lapse if you didn't extend it before.
So that's what I'm saying,
That's fine.
could we,
We will be meeting the first Thursday in December.
Yeah,
which
so
you
we-
could extend it.
we'll make a
Yeah,
decision at that
okay.
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we need to amend this at this time, but just simplify it.
It's almost like climate scientists told us this would happen.
Okay.
I can make a comment, thanks.
Any other comments about the ban? All right, so again, this is gonna extend the ban to December 19th unless council changes that date. And we will revisit this at our December workshop meeting. Definitely at the workshop meeting. Whichever our last meeting in December is, we will revisit that time. All right, so we're gonna vote on extending the fire ban emergency declaration. All those in favor? Okay, Cindy, you're. That's fine. That is unanimous.
I thought the agenda had been updated to include motion to approve resolution 2024-2022 to extend the mayor's reign resolution?
That's right.
Where's that? Where'd that go?
Where I'm commanding it to rain?
That's right, isn't that, I think that's one of the mayor's powers, council. doesn't
I
have
did
that
my
power.
dance, it didn't work.
No, don't do it
Okay.
till Sunday.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, don't do it till
your rain.
after the scavenger.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm outside this year, it can't rain. I got really wet one year.
I forgot.
All right, we got one more item, just the, the minutes from the business meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the October 17th, 2024 business meeting.
Second? Any discussion of the minutes? All right, let's vote to approve the October 17th business meeting minutes. All those in favor? Okay, it is unanimous. No discussion or information items. We do have committee reports. Infrastructure. We have a
On you, Larry.
committee report?
We did not have a meeting.
Okay, thanks, folks. Finance administration.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
We have not had a finance administration meeting since the last
Okay,
report.
public health and safety.
We have not had a meeting yet.
Yeah,
It's
right.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning.
Righto. All right, we had moved public comment. Are there any announcements for the good of council? Scavenger hunt?
Oh,
I guess
sure.
we already know if you're in, so.
Yeah, I guess just, you
Just
know,
for people who are
When
not.
when there's 180 folks running around with light up Viking helmets and everybody can call 911.
That's right.
I would, it's a good reminder. Saturday night, there'll be a lot of people running in and about, pedestrians running out and about all around Narberth from about 7 to 9.
7:30 to 9.
But they'll be there about 7, they'll start coming about 7
Yeah.
to 9.
And the roads are not closed.
The roads are not closed, but I would ask everybody to be very cautious.
Yeah. All right, we held an executive session on October 29th to discuss personnel matters. We will be holding an executive session after this meeting to discuss personnel matters and litigation. We will not be returning to session after that. So, and I think there's also something relating to the lease at
201 Sabine.
201 Sabine. Yeah, again, not just relating to a lease agreement at 201 Sabine. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion over there, adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, folks.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, Jeff.
Thank you.